The starting point, of course, has to be to understand the workload, which is a combination of scheduled and unscheduled. The scheduled workload is a combination of work derived from the aircraft maintenance program and additional works, whether they are company generated or regulatory driven. This is the scheduled workload. We also have an unscheduled workload because we don't know what you found when you inspect the airplane. You inspect the airplane and you find a defect. We've got to fix that defect. Now, I don't know until you find the defect how long it's going to take us, because we didn't know the defect was there. So this is the unknown. Again, we can plan for it because we can say, okay, but we do this check 10 times a year, and typically the unscheduled findings are round about 20 to 30 man hours each one check. So we can say that we have an expectation, let's put it in the middle, 25, that there will be 25 hours. Now it might be 40, it might be 10, but at least we can budget in our program for 25 hours, and then we'll see what we find. If we find more, then we'll take a suitable action. Additional considerations: wasted time of the maintenance staff, efficient use of work time, material and equipment, instructions for continued airworthiness, means all the information that we need being available. Operability of the maintenance support equipment. I go to use a piece of equipment and it's not working. Has this happened? For sure. So instead of doing the job on the aeroplane, I'm doing the job on the equipment. It's true. It's true. And it's repeated over and over, of course. So that is not the time to start fixing equipment when the aeroplane's sitting there. But that sometimes happens. The MPD is a dynamic document. We've spent a lot of time talking about the MPD, and we know that it's subject to continuous revision, and it pays attention to changes that can come about from STC, from customer requirements, from SBs, from ADs. When we talk about standard cost, it's indicated under the MPD corresponding task. Therefore, we have a situation which acts as the baseline. To understand our manpower requirement and allow us, whether airline operator or MRO, to plan for maintenance manpower together with the parts, etc., etc., depending on the efficiency of each crew, the cost may be up or down from OEM MPD recommendations. In reality, they're typically up by a factor. And as we've said, a factor of round about 2 to 2.5 is typically what we will find. It may be lower, it may be higher, it may in some cases be significantly higher. And that factor, first of all, is an indication of the efficiency of the maintenance process. So a question to ask ourselves, or if we're auditing and we're trying to understand the effectiveness of the organisation, to ask them what their factor is. And they should know. If they don't know, then that's an indicator as well. But they will know. And for example, I work with one organisation and their factor is 4.5. I work with another organisation and their factor is 2.5. So what we're saying, between these two organisations, one will take exactly twice as many hours to do the same job. So to do a 100-hour A check, Company A will take 225 hours and Company B will take 450 hours. So imagine you're paying for the A check. So there is a problem. And going back to what I was saying earlier about costings, you want a C check and you say, how much will you do a C check for? And if I say to you, based on a 500-hour C check, I'm going to charge you £2,000, plus hours, 2,800 hours, for a 500-hour C-check, you'll say, I'll let you know. And I'll say, how are you getting on? You say, well, I've got a guy who is going to charge me 1,000 hours for this C-check, because he can do it in 2 hours per 1 hour of the MPD. So you've got to compete with him. And I've seen a company actually say, well, if he'll do it for 1,000, we'll do it for 1,000. And they can't, because their internal factor is nearer to 4. So they're subsidising it by a factor of 50%. And so it goes on.